Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are the Herschel Talkers presenting the College Football Hour. I'm Angry Scott. We got Trey, baby driver, and casual fan Kris. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Living the dream, buddy.
Today, we're going to cover the Ohio State-Utah Rose Bowl matchup. Trey, give us your thoughts.
You're gonna put me over here on the hot mic?
Oh, I am. Let's, Kris, would you like to lead us off?
I'll go. Ohio State, great win, 48-45. I was actually watching at one of the local bars here in Charlotte, Ed's Tavern. We'll shout out there.
Oh, hey, Ed's Tavern, fantastic weeds. Trey was there for the COVID super spreader event. Trey, how we feeling?
We were actually outside, spaced out with a person that just got over it, and they tested negative. So we're being good. Right. So anyway, 48-45, great win. First off, not a jab at you guys. Any kind of defense at all? I know you guys were down some starters. I was just like back and forth. One of the best names I've heard, though, Cameron Rising. Great name, by the way. 17-22, 2 touchdowns. Utah, I know you guys felt like, Utah wanted it more. You guys weren't really motivated because you weren't in the playoffs. But overall, just great college football game to watch, just for me being a neutral fan. CJ Stroud, what can you say? 6 touchdowns, 573 yards. But the elephant in the room, amazing. I don't even know what else to word. Tecmo Bowl, John Madden-like, whatever else, video games. Jackson Smith, I don't want to butcher his last name.
Njigba.
15 receptions, 3-4, just nuts. That could be people that could be 4 games for some average wide receivers. Crazy. Couldn't stop the guy, Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know where you guys grow these wideouts, where you get them from. You guys are definitely, I'd say you're up there with Bama. They were talking about Bama the other day, how the last couple of years. I don't know. I think you should match up Ohio State and Bama in debate over wide receiver U, but just really impressive. Great game to watch. 48-45. If I had to be really critical, I guess, would have been a different game if you guys didn't knock out the Cameron Rising, because he was moving the ball on you guys. But overall, it's a great game to watch. Good win for you guys, the Buckeyes. I know it's a great weekend. Michigan beat down, and then Ohio State win. So,
well, I'll go ahead. First, we'll talk a little bit about the game here, and then I'll give you my other thoughts about the opt-outs and the pageantry of the Rose Bowl and kind of what Kirk Herbstreit had to say and everything. Yeah, that first half, I was worried, man. I was worried. Nothing against Utah, but it's the biggest game of the program history. And it's not the biggest game for Ohio State, man. It's not that the Rose Bowl still isn't a big deal, but it's not the biggest game. Now you want to make the playoffs, and this is an exhibition game. Okay, I'm sorry to say, but it's consolation prize. And Utah, hey man, it'd be the biggest win in the program history. Was it 60-40 Utah fans, 80-20? I don't know. They're both red, so it's tough to tell, but definitely more Utah fans out there, and they came ready to play. And as I said to you, you give it a little bit of time between these games, 3 or 4 weeks, the better team's going to win, or the more motivated team. And I would say nothing against Ohio State, but Utah was definitely a more motivated team. They came out there, and we could not stop them. And I was like, man, we have to stay up score for score, which we did. But I would say, was it Kobe? He did the kickoff return. He took that one to the house. Utah went on that. Was it 4th and 1? And then the quarterback, he took it to the house. And even Jackson Smith-Njigba, even though he just had the best he had the most receiving yards by any receiver in bowl history. So yeah, one of the best games I've ever seen a wide receiver play, but we had to stay up. And even then, you look at some of the plays that they had there in that first half. I want to say the first half, what was the score of the first half? Was it 35-21 at halftime? Yep. So we had to stay up with them. And I said, okay, they could do no wrong. And if you remember, there was that other one that Jackson Smith-Njigba was going to go and take it to the end zone, and the ball got punched out by that Utah player. I mean, Utah came to play, man. I'll give them that. I said, oh, crap, here we go. It's not an excuse. People that think it's an excuse. It's not an excuse. We did have opt-outs. Utah's a good team, man. I've seen them play a couple times this year, and they came ready to play. I was actually surprised that we came out and played as well as what we did on defense in the second half. To start that second half, that I think we only went and gave up, 10 points in the second half. And So, I mean, they definitely finally found the defense. And then obviously, the whole day Utah had no answer whatsoever for Jackson. So, I mean, I'm glad to get the win. But it was definitely, I was very worried in that first half. What do you think, Kris?
Absolutely. Trey, like you mentioned, Cam Rising came to play and they took it to us. They came out heads on fire, just not afraid of anything. And I think we were either still sleepy from the time difference, maybe a little shell shock / punched in the mouth, but very angry and nervous at the end of the half. So I'm glad the offense finally or continued the momentum. Defense made a couple of really key stands, so we can keep this thing going. But yeah, video game numbers for the young receivers, especially my guy number 11, Jackson Smith-Njigba. But like I said last week, got to look for the young guys to step up at receiver, and all three of them did. For sure. I mean, number 11, but Junior Harrison just picking up some skills he may have picked up from his dad. And then my guy from Washington, hails from Washington, Emeka Egbuka. That is correct. Emeka Egbuka. So all of them stepped up. Really proud of them. Seems like the running game was a little lacking compared to normally. Trevion Henderson didn't have a stud-like game, but what happened? He dislocated his shoulder, I think.
I think he had 82 yards. Yeah, but he definitely had a rough day.
Yeah, he had a rough day. And then I don't know. I feel like, Mayan Williams, he stepped in where he could, but I feel like we could have taken a page from old Jimmy Harbaugh's mantra, run the damn ball. But anyway.
That worked out for them really well against Georgia, though, didn't it?
It worked a lot better against us, unfortunately. But yeah.
Well, I heard too that the 35 points scored in the first half is the most that Ohio State's ever given up in the first half and still won the game. And I think too that CJ Stroud, I want to say was that like the most pass yards ever thrown in a Rose Bowl, I believe. So, and then you look at Jackson Smith-Njigba not only broke the receiving record for the Rose Bowl, but like all of bowl history. And to answer your question from earlier, Trey, the reason, nothing against Bama, man, because Bama's got studs everywhere, but Ohio State does have a better wide receiver core. And you can thank former Ohio State wide receiver, and he played in the pros, Brian Hartline, for what he's done at that wide receiver room. Because don't forget that Jameson Williams was an Ohio State transfer, to Bama, and he's their best receiver right now. So, the other thing that you brought up, Trey, was that Utah QB, he's definitely, man, I think we have all seen enough UFC fights and other boxing fights that when somebody gets KO, their arms go limp. And when I saw him hit the ground, if you watch his arms went limp. And I was like, man, that dude, I said to my wife, I guarantee you he's unconscious right now.
Yep.
So it was a tough loss for Utah when he went back in, but obviously when he went out. But in the second half, man, as much as he was, I think that one, I want to say that happened late in the third or in the fourth quarter sometime. Like, they still weren't moving the ball. And then they brought the backup in. He did come down to tie the game, So, it's tough on Utah, man. They went and they played their hearts out. But I'm just glad that all is right with the world. Ohio State wins and Michigan loses, So all is right with the world.
I will say this, like the secondary for Utah, I don't know, the DB that was covering the Jigbu kid. I don't know. He's going to have nightmares forever. He might never be the same. This is the whole secondary, just giving up that.
Clark Phillips.
And I think he broke Keyshawn Johnson. Like Rose
Bowl.
He
did. He broke the Rose Bowl record when Keyshawn did it against Northwestern, like a 96 or something. But it's also the most receiving yards ever in a college bowl game.
Crazy.
Here's the other thing. Now, I was watching that first half, and I was like, so when does Ohio State's new defensive coordinator start? And I still feel that way because I still think we're lucky to get away. And, oh, by the way, at the end of the game, what the fuck are we doing kicking to Covey? So Covey, if anybody who's ever read, the book, which I've read it, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he's related to that guy. I think it's Stephen Covey's that guy where this guy, I don't know what his first name is, but he's related to that guy. And when they were kicking off to him, he's already returned one. What the fuck are you doing kicking off to him? I sit there to my wife. It's like, we're up 48-45, 12 seconds left. This is how we're going to lose the game. They're going to kick it off and he's going to return it and we're going to lose by 6. So at that point in time, I was thinking of 7 ways to highly effectively crap my pants. But, luckily they tackled him, but I have no idea what the hell they're doing. Because, I look back at some of the calls. Man, I love Ryan Day. We won the game, but there were still some calls in there that I'm like, what were we doing? Just kick. If there's time left, kick the ball out of bounds to get the ball to 35 instead of trying to kick it to that guy. I'm glad they stopped them, and it's a moot point. Doesn't matter, but there's still some questionable calls.
All right. So, what else I wanted to ask? Oh, first off, do you know what the Utes are? I had to look this up. This is just being me being stupid. Do you know what that is?
No, it's a tribe in Utah.
Yeah, I looked that up. Yeah, I didn't know that.
The running Utes.
So great, good win, definitely 48-45. So good ending for Ohio State season. I know not where they wanted to be. Could definitely make the playoffs. So how do you guys see 2022, and how do you guys stand? Do you think going forward?
Well, but before we do that, Trey, I think first we just love the viewers that listen to our show. So first, I'd like to respond to some fan mail. Do you have that? Do you have that available?
I do. Here we go.
All right. Hey, can one of you please read that for me?
Yeah, I'll
Trey,
read.
If you can't read, I'll let Kris do that.
I'll read. All right. Scott Albright, first off, Utah 35-21. That might have been a halftime. Not sure.
That was a halftime score. Maybe he was thinking what was going to happen at halftime.
He was trolling. And I do love this. This is absolutely delicious. I don't know. Oh, that was another one. Anyway, all right. So OSU is really worried that Utah will beat them. 18 players didn't show up for practice in SoCal. They're creating an excuse in case Utah wins. This is a primitive damage control. They're trying to dodge the fallout that will ensure a loss to the Utes, creating an excuse. I think you repeated that already. This is shit. This shit is unexcusable. Shame on the prima donnas. The Utes will give them the spanking they deserve for disrespecting their team, the Rose Bowl, and college football. Roger Harris.
Roger Harris. Let me just say, first off, I'd like to say thank you for listening to the program. Second off, I would like you to suck my fucking balls. So what I would like to say, though, is this whole – first off, Ohio State still won, and that's right, those people left, and they wouldn't have opted out of the game. But why not? Here's the other thing, and I'll get into my Kirk Herbstreit take on all this as well, but it's one game. You're opting out one game. And when you're a big program like Ohio State or the Georgias of the world, look, man, if you don't make it, if you opt out the whole season is different. When you're opting out for a bowl game, that's an exhibition. I can't blame those guys. I always love it how other guys can go and they can spend other people's money. So was I still worried about it? You're damn right I was worried about it. Because you know what? Utah's a damn good team. That isn't an excuse. I thought they might beat us anyways. Okay? Because what we've seen from this Ohio State defense, I was worried. However, guess what? Ohio State still showed up. It turns out Utah doesn't have a secondary, so we're not the only ones with defensive problems. And we took it to them. And we won. Well, I say took it to them. We took it to them in the second half. We won by 3. But, we can get into the whole opt-out story. I don't look as an Ohio State fan. I'd love for them to play every single game, but it's a lot easier to go and spend other people's money. So for the fact that they're opting out of just one game that is an exhibition, man, I really can't blame the kids. What do you think, Kris?
Can't blame them at all. It goes back to once they instituted the 14 playoff, you kind of took a lot of the value out of these other games or the other bowl games. So the Rose Bowl doesn't have as much power and prestige since you're not competing for that national title like it once was. So again, if I'm a millionaire in the making, right? If I'm one game away from just saying, let me go ahead and train for the combine, instant first round draft guarantee. No, I don't blame you one bit. It's every right or every bit of each individual player's choice. I respect whatever choice they want to make, but no, I don't fault these guys one bit because it's their life. And guess what? I'm not a millionaire athlete like these kids are going to be.
Well, here's the other thing. If you want to blame somebody, then blame Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette, because they were the first two to opt out of a bowl game back in whatever year that was, 2015, 2016, whenever it was. Okay, they were the first ones. You want to blame somebody, go ahead and blame them. But the pageantry of it all. Okay, Kirk Herbstreit, why don't you go ahead? If you think the Rose Bowl is all about the pageantry, then why don't you do that game for free? Because Guess what? You're not going to do that fucking game for free. And if you love the Rose Bowl so much, and you're going to go ahead and announce the game, maybe you'll do that for free. But I guarantee you one damn thing, you're not going to do the rest of the season for free. You're like, where's my damn money? Yeah. Why wouldn't you? I mean,
it's the American way.
It's one game. It's not a whole season. It's one game, no championships on the line. It's another reason to explain the playoffs. But what it comes down to is, hey, man, let's give a chance. Luckily, we have enough studs that we can go and we can bring in the next guy. And guess what? I've got news for you. If CJ Stroud has a great year next year, that'll be 3 years in college. Okay. And if he goes to win the Heisman and then we don't go in the playoffs, then guess what? He's not going to play next year either. And nor is Smith-Njigba. If they're playing in the Rose Bowl or, Quick Lane Bowl or who gives a fuck bowl, guess what? If it's not the playoffs, they're not going to play. And I don't blame them. If they decide to play, great. But if you do get hurt, like was it Matt Corral from Ole Miss? Where's the pageantry of that? Where's my fucking money? I can't blame them. I'm not going to spend another man's money who's going to make all this money for just an exhibition. Does it mean a lot to me as a Ohio State football fan? Absolutely. Oh, yeah, it means a lot to me. But I can't blame these other kids. And we still won the game. But it is one of those, the whole time, all I did was like, oh, shit. The whole first half, I was like, man, they were coming ready to play. I think we're going to lose. But I can't blame those kids for doing that and sitting the game out.
Well, I'll say this, Scott. In the middle of the game, I'm like, Chris Olave, why can't you just play? How come you couldn't have played? I was angry, right? But again, he's a grown man. Technically, officially, technically, grown man, does what he wants.
Yeah, and then luckily, back on the Matt Corral thing, luckily it was just a sprained ankle. I think it looked like it could have been like a knee or something.
Well, hey, what I want to know,
so
the next time that y'all go to your,
but it is kind of his choice.
The next time y'all go to your boss and you ask, hey, man, I'm doing good at work and I like to get a raise, I want you to boss to bring up too, what about the pageantry or what we do for a living? And you know what you're going to say? Pay that man his money. Where's my money? Don't talk about pageantry. That's the part that it's like, look, man, people want to say that there was this article that came out of Salt Lake, KSL or something like that, as Ohio State obtaining the Rose Bowl or other bullshit. Ohio State players are doing the same thing that all these other guys are doing. Maybe is there an article out there? Who was the Pitt quarterback that sat out as well? And that was a big bowl game, the Peach Bowl. Maybe it's
Pickett.
Yeah. And dude, the Heisman finalist, but he's just like, okay, well, it's one game, let's give the backup a shot. And then the backup got hurt, so we got the third string guy a shot. And you still had a chance to win, but he threw an interception towards the end. So what I'm getting at is, from a fan perspective, you're like, yes, man, I love to win these bowl games, but there's just you're never going to get that money back. There's few guarantees in life. If you get hurt in that game, and just like, wasn't it that Ohio State player that got hurt on one of those kickoffs, and now he's out like 8 months or something? I forget the guy's name, but he got carted off the field, the Ohio State player. And it's like, dude, that could go and hurt your draft stock. That can make you not get drafted. And the NFL stands for not for long, right? So if all you're guaranteed is that first contract. And even then, like, hey, if you're not a first round pick, it's less money. So I don't blame these guys whatsoever. Am I glad we won? Hell yeah, I'm glad we won. But it's still, to me, and I mean, Trey, I'm going to ask you about this as a Georgia fan. You always want to see your Bulldogs win, but if they're not playing in the playoff, what are your thoughts on everything? Is it kind of like, is it just is it, well, I didn't make the playoffs, so now we're in the Outback Bowl? I mean, do you give a damn about that?
Yeah, I mean, that happened last year. I think we had 10 or 12 guys out. We were able to piece the team together and beat Baylor. But I'm kind of the same way too. It does take it. I wish they would play, but I definitely see I think if they're a first round pick, they should sit out. But if you're maybe going to make the draft and it may be late rounds, I think it's maybe worth playing because it gives you more film. But maybe that first, second round, they can sit out and I'd be completely fine with it. I know I'd hate to see it if they're an impactful player, but that's what I agree with.
That's a great point, though. Great opportunity for more film, especially if you don't think you're going to be that first or second round pick.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, it's got to be that first. Especially if you're definitely a first round pick, I think anymore, man, they're probably going to sit out. If they decide to play, then so be it. But Matt Corral, man, the quarterback, I keep on going to the Matt Corral thing. It's just a sprained ankle, but it could have been a lot worse. And I think the quarterback draft of this class is not very big. So does that ultimately hurt his stock? I don't know.
Yeah. Like, for example, if let's say if Georgia wouldn't have made it and went to Sugar Bowl or one of that, I'd probably half that defense be sitting out because it's a very senior laden team. So if we have a bunch of backups in, I'd be like, not looking good, but I wouldn't blame them. Like N'Kobe Dean, Jordan Davis, probably first rounders, couldn't blame them at all. Thanks.
But according to Kirk Herbstreit, he's just the guy that loves it so much. You know, the other stat I heard, and I'm taking all these shots at Herbstreit, it's not that. Like, look, man, it's when I brought up those guys in game day, like Reese Davis, you can't even tell he went to Bama. Okay. Chris Fowler, I don't know. You can't tell he went to Colorado, but yeah, Colorado's not what they used to be, but like in the 90s. But I mean, with like, if anything, you would think that Herbstreit is like, he tries to be so neutral that he's almost like anti-Ohio State. Okay. And then he kept on going on and on and on. Oh, the pageantry of I can't believe they're not playing it. Dude, kids are different these days. Doesn't mean they still don't love football, but God forbid there's one exhibition game and you say, you know what? I've got some business decisions to make down the road and I don't want to play. So I don't know. I mean, that's, I could go on and on about this, but I'm not going to.
Well, humor me on this one, Scott. I got a question for you. So do you think this is just a trash hot take for him? I mean, how many games has he called this bowl season? Seems like he's been a busy dude, right?
Well, if he loves college football so much, maybe he should do those bowl games for free. The pageantry of it all. Maybe it might be a very well trash hot take. It's just that it seems like if you're piling on Ohio State for not doing it, something that's happened since the Leonard Fournette, Christian McCaffrey, opt out, and the fact that every big time player, not every big time player, but a lot of big time players that aren't in the playoff are sitting out. Man, I don't blame those guys. So it just seems almost like I said, man, Desmond, you can tell he's a Michigan guy. That's fine. Look, man, if I was on a show like that, you know where I stand. You know where Trey stands, and that's okay. But like when you try to be so objective that it almost seems like you're anti-Ohio State. Okay, give your objective viewpoint, but why are you trashing Ohio State so much when there's all these other teams that do it? That's when people say taint the Rose Bowl. Look, man, if Utah would have won that game, that doesn't taint anything. Utah still won. Hey, man, we played the guys that were out there. Okay, and Ohio State, man, look, we lost 2 quarterbacks on the year we won the national title, and that didn't seem tainted to me. I guess somebody else out there, if we would have lost, would have said, well, we had our third string, quarterback. Well, but we still wanted to win the national title. So, and Trey, as you know, I don't know if Stetson's going to make it over from that Cincinnati game. I'm sorry, from the Cincinnati stands to play again in his part-time job at Kohl's. If he's going to make it over to the Georgia game, but if he does get hurt and God forbid they have to put JT Daniels in, I don't think that's going to taint anything if you still won the national championship, will it?
Exactly. Be great karma because we beat Bama with a backup quarterback. Be great.
Well, hey, man, that's really what you need. And I know, man, you're scared to death. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think you want to go through Bama. And I think it's going to happen. I think so you're saying there's a chance.
Exactly.
Well, do you have any other hot takes on the game? Or
I do. I have
this
could be fake news, and I know you guys have your ear down the ground. This is coming from a Georgia podcast. Don't shoot it. Any smoke about Ryan Day getting looked at by the Chicago Bears? I heard that. I don't know. Just heard that Monday, so just say don't shoot me.
Kris, go ahead. I'll let you respond first.
So I've heard that. Heard that a while. That's been floating around for a few weeks at least.
Okay.
But this is just my trash memory going. But I don't think it has legs. Ryan, Coach Day, this isn't his most successful season, but again, he's in the middle of a kind of a shift or a rebuild almost. Well, not even a rebuild, a reload and just kind of restructure. But if Ryan knows he's valued in Columbus, even though he's got that nice relationship with former Georgia quarterback Justin Fields.
Is that the only link there? I was wondering.
I mean, you got Roquan Smith up there too, right?
Right.
But I don't think that's enough to oh crap, I'm thinking Georgia players, my bad. I don't think it's enough to pull Day into the NFL. Not yet. I know he's got experience. He was a quarterback coach for San Fran, but I would advise Coach Day to stay right in Columbus.
Well, here's what I will say with that. I mean, I understand him coaching Justin Fields, how then he'd want to go to the NFL because, to Chris's point, I know he has a relationship with Chip Kelly. I know that he's gone and he's been an assistant, I want to say, in the Eagles and in San Francisco. So, he's already seen that kind of NFL life. And for what it's worth, I think he would have success. I think he'd have more success than, let's say, another Ohio State football coach that may or may not have kicked a player. And we know for sure that he grabbed the woman's ass because that's on camera. And remember,
hey,
if it's not on camera,
just a little dance.
If it's not on camera, maybe it didn't happen, is what you can say. So I think he'll have more success than Urban in the pros if he does go there. I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up there. I'd love him to forever stay at Ohio State. Outside of the Nick Sabans of the world, it seems like a lot of these guys have about a 10-year shelf life, and you have some guys that, obviously a lot shorter and other ones that are longer. But, I look at the last couple Ohio State head coaches. John Cooper was there 13 years, going to be Michigan, will win a bowl game. Jim Tressel, I want to say 9 to 10 years, or Meyer 7. So, and you see a lot of the same stuff around college football, except for, the Nick Sabans of the world, Kirk Ferentz, the Iowa's head coach. But so I can see him eventually going on to the pros. But the other part of it is, man, if it's money you're talking about and success, then unless you're Bill Belichick, you're not going to necessarily have more success in the NFL. It's a lot tougher. Then you're playing teams with equal competition, with equal talent. Okay. And you say at Ohio State with these contracts they're giving out, that's the thing right now. Ryan Day is underpaid. If you got James Franklin got that 10-year, $95 million contract or whatever it is, you got Mel Tucker, Michigan State getting a 10-year, $95 million contract. Ryan Day is only making, I say only, but just under $7 million. I'm like, where's my damn money? That's what I would be saying, because even though I haven't won a national title yet, he's definitely accomplished more. So you can make more money right now at a college, especially one of these 10-year contracts. You could have more success, unless you're, Oklahoma or Texas going to the SEC. But then most of these teams, you can have more success and win more games. And the only way I see him going, and maybe I'm wrong, is that he wins like 2 national titles at Ohio State in the next 5 years. He said, I've accomplished everything I can in college, and I want to move on. So I want to be shocked. There'll probably be breaking news tomorrow. Ryan Day to Chicago Bears, because Nagy's their head coach is going to get fired. But
he's gone.
I don't think it's going to happen, Ben. But things are so crazy. My concern as an Ohio State fan is we would turn into like what happened to Oklahoma, and then there's just mass exodus. Because the breaking news here today was their quarterback. I mean, we already know Spencer Rattler, transfer portal, he's in South Carolina. But then Caleb Williams, man, he's in the transfer portal too. I'm like, you're supposed to be the guy. So it's kind of nuts that when a coach leaves, then there's all these transfers. But he said, Caleb Williams, that, hey, even though he's in the transfer portal, he might end up back at Oklahoma. I'm like, it's kind of like college football free agent. Are you just testing free agency and you're going to come back to your team? So that's the thing that concerns me from an Ohio State fan, that when you get to stability in the head coach position, that then you can go and get guys to stay, and you're still going to get kids that enter the transfer portal. But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't want them to leave, but I can't blame them. But I don't think it's going to happen yet. I mean, what scenario, Kris, do you see, or Trey? What scenario do you see that he then does leave Ohio State for the NFL?
Trey, you want to get this one, or you want me to jump on
it? I just don't see him because the recruiting class is in place. I just think it would be really shitty. I'm not saying it can't happen. It'd be really shitty timing. It's just it would really put you guys back. And if you want a contract extension, you can use that as negotiating. But like you said, you got something really good here. You got all these wide receivers. You're set up with a quarterback. Why leave when you're going to the Bears? I know they got a lot of other problems. I mean, defense was down. You have to bet. I mean, to me, Fields might be still a little salty. To me, he's a little injury prone. You guys knew he's a little banged up there. He's already been hurt a couple of games. It's just his style. I don't see him being long term. I mean, he seems like a good kid, but I just don't think your body would be like a Cam Newton. It's going to break down eventually. And I don't know. I just think he's got a good thing at Ohio State. I mean, why go? You can get bumped up to $9 or $10 million, some crazy contract, And you guys are probably going to be playoff bound next year. Definitely probably ranked top 10 preseason. So I think it's a sweet deal.
I'm with you, Trey. I think no coach wants to enter a dumpster fire, especially I wouldn't call Chicago dumpster level yet, but it's pretty close. So they got a lot of work. And Ryan Day coaches, especially successful coaches, they've got egos, right? They've got this confidence, and the last thing you want is to make that jump from college. We've already established college coaches don't make a huge splash in the NFL. Matt Rule. But again, you want to go in the right situation, right team, right environment. I don't think that's attractive enough for Ryan Day to get into, despite having Justin Fields, but you got to protect him first. You got to have your kind of system around him and get these grown men, not young college athletes, aspiring guys, but these grown men, full professionals. You got to get these guys to buy into your system. So that's a separate challenge in itself. I think Ryan Day can do that, but I don't think Chicago right now is that situation. The money's going to come. The money will be there and waiting for them. Well, we will have not one Brinks truck. We will have 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5. Like whatever 10-year, 95, 105 million, whatever the deal needs to be. But if Coach Day keeps doing what he does, the Brinks trucks will back up.
Well, don't you think he should, for the pageantry of it all, do like next year, I mean, just it's the pageantry of it all, Kris for the whole season. So maybe a couple game, he just doesn't take a paycheck, right? Because it's for the love of the game.
It is for the love of the game. But
can I also get some money though? Where's my money?
Pretty much. I'll give away my game checks if Nike continues to cut that other check for the on-field merch. But anyway,
yeah. The other thing to your point there, Trey, is like the college coaches. Or I think Kris, maybe you mentioned that the college coaches across the board. Yes, college coaches don't have as much success. Cliff Kingsbury though, look pretty good right now. Most people don't fail up. They get fired from Texas Tech and then get hired by an NFL team. But playoff bound, right? So Arizona Cardinals, but across the board, man, it's definitely, if you're at a good school like this, he could always then come back to college. And that's what you even saw the Saban, man, didn't have success. And, he's been back to Bama, but, he wanted to go and test the waters. So you just hope that, he would have fallen. I mean, the thing is, Trey, as much as it hurts you to see national title, what is it, 41 years or 42 technically now, right?
41, but yeah.
Okay. Well, close enough.
Counting.
But Trey, he counts every day.
I'm gonna get one of those 1980 t-shirts.
Yes.
How bad would you? I mean, yes, you want to be Bama and everything, but think about it like this: what if you're LSU and you're like, "Well, I have one of Nick Saban's 7 national titles. The other 6 are my hated rival because he left my team to go to Miami and then come back to one of our hated rivals in Alabama." So that's the other thing that I would be. How crazy would it be, man, if we had, here you go, he wins a national title, Ryan Day or something like that, and then, hey, I'm going to head off to the pros, and then he comes back and goes to like summer school in the Big Ten, and not only does he come back, but he wins 6 national titles. Not likely to happen. Ryan Day's a good coach, but dude, you want to talk about a fucking nightmare scenario.
The only other thing that he might, and I'm sure he's used to it, is with the NFL thing is you don't have to do the whole recruiting grind. I hear more and more coaches that you have to be on the road all the time. So always, text calls, it's the whole. So, because I was always thinking like the best ideal is, I know there's the position coaches get paid well, whatever they get paid, $1 million or $2 million, whatever it is think about it. All you have is that's your like little position. Here's your D lineman. And the team picks it. I was wondering, like, what do these guys do in the off season? I'm sure they work, but like, you don't have to recruit. Season's over. Just go watch the guys work out and look at film. So I always thought like that would be kind of a sweet job. I know there's a lot of pressure, it's a lot of stress, but like you don't have to do recruit. That's probably what 50-60% of it in college, right? You just recruit.
Oh yeah.
Well, and to your point, you mean you still have free agency? I think that's got
that might be another thing. If he doesn't like recruiting, always heard like, yeah. That'd be the only reason to leave is what I'm saying. I don't think he's.
Yeah, but in the NFL, you've got the free agency side of things, and you still got to keep guys happy, or if they, they can still say, "Hey, OBJ, man, in Cleveland, hey, we just need to find a way, and you need to cut me." Or if you're Antonio Brown, you say, "I'm not going to go in the game," you take your shirt off and run off the field. That's probably the exception to the rule. Yeah. But the thing that's got to be so tough in college now, you have to not only have to recruit the guys, you have to continue to recruit them. Because if I don't play right away, hey, man, I'm just going to go somewhere else. No. Hey, man, this other guy's great. But let me tell you, this other backup we have, wow, he's really good too.
All right. Well, anything else you want to guys add?
No, hey, look, I'm just glad all is right with the world. I'm going to go ahead, forget those national titles from 2002 and 2014 for Ohio State. I'm going to go get my 2022 Rose Bowl champion shirt, and we'll put that ahead because it's current, because that means more to me as a fan than the national title. So I'm just glad that all is right with the world. Jimmy Harbaugh choked on Chickabone BN, lost a big game. Okay. Who has it better than you? Georgia, obviously. And Ohio State for the last 18 years. But and Ohio State goes out with a win. So go Bucks.
There you go.
There you go. My last closing thoughts. Just really glad how everything turned out for the boys. Our guys, Jackson Smith-Njigba, he's a millionaire, right? With just with the name, image, and likeness thing from this game alone, I think he's going to be a millionaire, right? If our boy Quinn Ewers, now at Texas, if he was able to get $1 million off of kombucha, hey, Jackson Smith, get kombucha, get soda, get whatever, but he's going to be big.
That's great. Awesome,
hey,
guys.
Kris, one last question for you, Kris. Have you ever tried kombucha?
I have.
What do you think of it?
I like it, but I know it's not for everybody. Yes.
Do you also go and just take vinegar and drink it right out of the bottle?
That's a daily thing I do. No, I don't, but
because that's what I think when I drink kombucha. God, is it fucking horrible. That being said, kombucha, if you want to be a sponsor of the Herschel Talkers presents the College Football Hour, yummy kombucha. Tastes like vinegar.
Pretty much.
What about you, Trey? Last question for you. Have you ever tried kombucha?
I have not.
Go ahead, man. You get some. That's on tap. It's supposed to have "quote unquote" health benefits.
Is that the coconut oil stuff? I should probably know that or not.
No, kombucha's like it's supposed to be good for gut health and stuff like that, I think.
I do take the goalie stuff, the apple cider vinegar gummies. So I do take.
There you go.
Yeah.
I had the fish oil gummies and the one-a-day men's.
There you
But I
go.
like them in the gummy form. So no national title for Michigan. Come on, go Bulldogs. And next year, go Bucks.
And we will probably have a Georgia-Alabama preview for the national title next Monday coming up this week.
Woohoo. Let's get it.
Sound good. Sounds good. Good show, boys.
All right, buddy.
Good show, fellas.
Have a good one.
See ya.